Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. And in this video, man, we're going to talk about Nikola Jokic and why he can never be a top 10 center, or excuse me, a top 5 center, and to me, why he's never going to be a top 10 or, top 20 player in NBA's history. It's really because his era won't allow him to be a top 5 center or a top 10 player all time. His era won't allow it, guys. It just won't. There are no big men in this era. There's no legit centers anymore. The big men have been phased out of the league. Everyone's a three-point chucker. Everyone's on the perimeter now. There are no bangers. There are no low-post players like that. You just don't have centers like that anymore. So for me, when I think about Nikola Jokic, and some of you guys, have been talking to me in the comments about some of the things that have been said about Nikola Jokic, I just don't see how this man could be a top 5 center all time. It's just never going to happen. And to me, there's no way he's ever going to be a top 10 player in NBA's history because the era that he plays in just won't allow it, guys. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video, man. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world. Everyone across the states has been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, I am truly, truly humbled by all support, man. Like I said, it really does mean a lot, guys. You guys truly humble me, man. Like I said, it really means a lot, guys. So much respect to all true fans out there. The emails, all the things you guys say, the stories you guys share with me, man. Some of you guys share some personal stuff with me. I try to share personal things with you guys. So thank you very much for all that, guys. It means a lot, man. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So yes, guys, like I said, man, the main reason why I want to do this video is because this morning I was going through some comments, man, and I was responding to some of you guys, and I came across a comment that said that Scamp Attack has been trying to claim that Nikola Jokic is a top 10 player all time, and now he's trying to, come up with some weird top 10 list, like after Michael Jordan, right? Or, after Jordan, came in, Nikola Jokic is a top 10 player since Jordan came in, and before Jordan is like 2 different time periods. I don't know if I'm right about this, but that's what I was getting from the comment that I read. And I saw some other people had told me, commented to me, hit me up, emails and things like that, telling me that, Scap has been promoting Jokic as a top 10 type player, as like the greatest center of all time, essentially. I guess, like I said, since Jordan, maybe. I don't know, guys. I could be off on this. But as I told you guys, and like I said, I like Scap, man. I respect his channel, and like I said, him as a content creator and what he does, on his channel. Like I said, by all means, man, he does good work. He lost me on the Nikola Jokic stuff. Like I told you, we don't see eye to eye on this at all. We're nowhere near, seeing, like I said, eye to eye on the Nikola Jokic stuff. So I couldn't do it anymore. So I haven't been listening to Scap stuff. I haven't been watching the videos because I just don't even want to hear the Nikola Jokic stuff anymore. And for me, there's no way that Nikola Jokic could be a top 5 center all time because I've, heard people say that, Nikola Jokic is the greatest center or the most skilled center ever. I don't know how that could be possible. But I've heard people say these kinds of things, and they're trying to promote Nikola Jokic as like a top 10 player all time or some kind of top 5 center all time. And I just don't see how it's possible, guys, for him to ever crack a top 5 center all time or him to come anywhere close to a top 10 all time player because the era that he's playing in is so weak, and the position that he plays, there's no one to challenge him here. Now, I know we've talked about this before, and we've mentioned this, how the center position has been phased out. And shout out to my man 2 Raw. I was listening to his video yesterday. He was talking about no excuses for Nikola Jokic because that's what they're doing now. Like someone like Scap, he gets on my nerves sometimes with the Nikola Jokic stuff because he's always making excuses. It's always an excuse for Nikola Jokic. In 2019 or 2020, he was too young. He's told me, he was too young. He was only in his 3rd year or his 4th year, whatever it was. There's always some excuse, right? And I looked at, you look at Scap's videos and everything has to do with Nikola Jokic carrying these guys. He's got no help. The Denver Nuggets are a pitiful team, blah, 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 blah. And like I said, I watched almost all these postseason games, guys. I watched a lot of these games, man, intentionally this year on purpose. And I'm telling you guys right now, Nikola Jokic's team is pretty damn good, man. His teammates are pretty damn good. And I'm telling you right now, the Nuggets don't get past the first round this year without his teammates. And it's not like Nikola Jokic carried them out of the first round, right? No, his teammates actually were leading him. They actually carried him some of those games. I told you, Jamal Murray led the Nuggets in fourth quarter scoring. Aaron Gordon was second in fourth quarter scoring, not to mention the game winner that he hit in that first round. But whatever, that's not the point of this video. The facts remain, guys. When we think about the NBA over the last 10 years, there are no legit true centers out there anymore. There's no competition for these big men, for someone like Nikola Jokic, to be going against. So when we talk about Nikola Jokic and the numbers that he puts up, that's great. This is a stat-happy era. Nikola Jokic puts up great stats in a stat-happy era. There's a lot of guys putting up stats. LeBron James puts up stats, right? They love to celebrate LeBron James stats, but the Nikola Jokic fans want to celebrate Nikola Jokic stats, but then they knock LeBron James stats. It can't go both ways. You can't knock LeBron James for playing in a weak era, acting as if Nikola Jokic is not playing in that weak era, in that same era. He's playing in the same weak era. This is my problem with the Nikola Jokic fans. Someone like Skep, you're not staying consistent. The things that you knock LeBron James about, the weak, soft era, right? Nikola Jokic is playing in that same weak, soft era. Except when we think about Nikola Jokic, it gets highlighted even more because of the position he plays. So like we said, over the last 10 years or so, the big man position has essentially just been phased out. There are no traditional centers anymore. There really are no centers. I mean, if you think about Nikola Jokic and his main competition at the center position over the last, 3 to 4 years, 5 years, I guess you could say, is Joel Embiid. He's his main competition. But Joel Embiid's never there. So we mock Joel Embiid, right? And we talk about how soft and frail he is, right? And how this guy would never be able to hold up in the 90s era. The 80s and the 90s going against those legit big men, he wouldn't hold up against these guys. He couldn't even hold up against this weak era of competition with the softer rules. There's no way he'd be able to hold up in the 90s. So this is what we're talking about. Someone like Joel Embiid has been exposed. And someone like Nikola Jokic is being exposed in this era because you're not going against anybody. I saw Nikola Jokic this postseason, guys, being guarded by Alex Caruso, Nicholas Batum, James Harden. These are the guys that have taken turns guarding Nikola Jokic. You think that you would ever see someone like, Alex Caruso guarding Hakeem Olajuwon or Patrick Ewing? You're not going to see this nonsense. But yet and still, I saw Nikola Jokic being guarded regularly by guys who are nowhere close to his position. And why is this? Because of the NBA and the style of play of the NBA now. Everyone switches everything. No one fights through screens, right? No one tries to stay on their man and actually play their men straight up. Everyone's always switching everything. So you have these weird matchups with James Harden guarding Nikola Jokic in the high post. It's insane to me. Insane. You would never see this in the 80s and 90s in a playoff scenario like this, where you have a legit MVP caliber player, Nikola Jokic, being guarded by some 6'5", 6'6" shooting guard or point guard, or someone like James Harden, someone like Nicholas Batum guarding Nikola Jokic. It's laughable, guys. Laughable. Let's also mention, or not fail to mention, that Nikola Jokic, literally just this season, when they beat the Clippers, that was the first time a Nikola Jokic Denver Nugget team has ever beaten a 50-win team in the playoffs, guys. That's the first time. This man's been in the league, 8 years? 7, 8 years? This is the first. He's beaten one 50-win team in the playoffs? One! Like, that's insane to me. That doesn't make any sense. And like I said, the team that you beat had James Harden on it, man. James Harden. So you didn't really beat that team. That team beat themselves because they had James Harden on it. Right? There's no one that can convince me that beating a James Harden team is impressive. So I don't care how many wins the Clippers had, but they had 51 wins or whatever the hell amount of wins they had this year. The Denver Nuggets finally beat a 50-win team for the first time in Nikola Jokic's career. Not impressed. You see what happens when they go against a better team, they lose. So really, when has Nikola Jokic beat a team that was better than his? I don't know when. When did they ever beat a team? During that championship run, they didn't beat anyone that was better than them. They beat the teams that they were supposed to beat. They played all low-seeded teams. I'm not impressed with you beating the 8th seed Miami Heat in the finals. That's not competition. That's not you going out there and earning it. That's why I laugh when they say Nikola Jokic don't got no help. How much help do you need to beat these teams? The OKC Thunder are not that great. They've been over-exaggerated and overhyped. They're a good team, not a great team. Right? The Denver Nuggets are a good team, not a great team. But Nikola Jokic is supposed to be all-world center. So he should be able to lead his team past teams that are better than his on paper. All the great players in NBA's history have led their teams over other teams that were quote-unquote better than theirs, that might have had more talent, that might have had more wins, a better record. That happens all the time in NBA's history. It's called raising your level of play when it matters most. Nikola Jokic didn't do that this year. He did not raise his play to MVP level. He played below his level, struggling against guys like Isaiah Hartenstein. Really? Like, think about his matchups in the first two rounds, guys. Nikola Jokic was matched up against Ivan Zubac and Isaiah Hartenstein. And this is no knock on these guys. We're not tearing them down by saying they're bums or they're trash. What I'm telling you is that these are starting centers of the NBA. And not only is Ivan Zubac and Isaiah Hartenstein starting centers, these are two of the better centers in the NBA. These are two of the top-notch centers of the NBA. Think about that. That's the problem. Because in the 80s and the 90s, Isaiah Hartenstein is not even starting anywhere on any team. He probably ain't going to make a roster. He'll probably be a backup or a third-string center. And Ivan Zubac ain't being no starting center in the 90s. These are not starters, guys. But in this era, they're starters. And not only are they starters, they're good centers. These are quality centers in this era of NBA. Guys like Rudy Gobert are top-notch centers, top defenders in this weak era. Karl Anthony Towns. Does Karl Anthony Towns come across to you as a straight-up center, as a quote-unquote big man? Doesn't come across like that to me, but that's his position. But this dude is out there with the rubber legs, and so he's Gumby out there. Dude's made of rubber, man. He's all weird-bodied, no musculature. Like, him and Nikola Jokic got these smooth bodies, man. I'm not impressed with these guys. But this is his competition. And like we mentioned, the often hurt, always frail Joel Embiid. Guys like Robin Lopez, right? These are the centers. Bam Adebayo plays center in this era at 6'9". Bam Adebayo is like not even a power forward in the 90s. He's just not big enough, man. He ain't good enough. He's a bench warmer in the 90s. And that's not a knock on him. Those are just the facts, guys. He's an undersized center in this era. That's how these guys are. They're out of position. They're undersized. There are no legit 7-footers like that anymore. You don't have legit 7-footers like that. Banging down low. Victor Wembanyama. These are the centers. Come on, man. Stop it right now. I'm not with this. I'm not impressed. Jonas Valanciunas. No knock on these guys, man. Solid players. But these guys are not starters in the 90s, man. This is Nikola Jokic's competition, guys, over the last 5 years. This guy's been dominant in the NBA over the last 5 years, going against no one. There are no great teams. There are no dynasties out here that he has to go against. And you're like, damn, Nikola Jokic, how's he going to win a championship going against these great dynasties, these great teams? There are no great teams. There literally are none. No great teams in the NBA. The Boston Celtics exposed, right? The Cleveland Cavaliers exposed. The OKC Thunder, they've won nothing. This is their first Western Conference Finals. So I'm not impressed with OKC Thunder until they show me something, until they prove something to me. Minnesota Timberwolves, what have they won? They haven't won a damn thing either. They haven't done anything. So I'm not impressed with these teams. There are no great teams. There have been some good teams that are up and coming. That's it. Now, if Nikola Jokic was playing in the 80s and the 90s, then you'd be dealing not only with great teams, but with great players, man. And at his position, you're going against not just good players. You're going against great, legendary players at that position. Nikola Jokic had to earn it every night. See, when I talk to you guys about Nikola Jokic not having a chance of being a top 5 center all the time because his era won't allow him to, think about this. Not saying that Nikola Jokic would be trash. We're not saying this. I'm not saying that, he'd be averaging 5 points a game and, 2 rebounds or something like that. What I'm telling you guys right now is that the numbers that he's putting up, what he does in this era of NBA, he would not be able to do in the 90s because every single night he's going against somebody. There are no Ivan Zubac's. There are no Isaiah Hartensteins or the Bam Adebayos and the Robin Lopez's and the weak Joel Embiid's, right? And, the Jonas Valanciunas and, some of these other guys, man. Like, those are nights off for Nikola Jokic. That's why I was shocked that this dude was struggling against Isaiah Hartenstein or against Ivan Zubac. Ivan Zubac was playing good against Nikola Jokic, man. He was giving the business a lot of times. Those guys are nowhere near the level of some of the guys from the 90s. So every night you're going to have to bring it. So if you're going against Brad Daugherty, right, one night on the Cleveland Cavaliers, so now Brad Daugherty's a big body. 7 feet tall, 250 pounds. He was a big body, like a Nikola Jokic type of body. Brad Daugherty was a Nikola Jokic type of player. Brad Daugherty was probably the best passing big man from the mid to late 90s in the NBA. He led centers in assists for like 3 or 4 straight seasons. He was an excellent playmaker and passer, Brad Daugherty out of the high post, like Nikola Jokic. He had a nice stroke, like Nikola Jokic, Brad Daugherty, right? So these are the kinds of things that we talked about. Brad Daugherty wasn't a great athlete, like Nikola Jokic. Didn't play great defense, like Nikola Jokic. But he used his body, his size, his physicality to bang around down low, all right? So Nikola Jokic is going to bang against Brad Daugherty all game long. But not only Brad Daugherty, but because the way the game was played and the guys who played position ball, you also have to deal with Larry Nance down there. Hot Rod Williams, you're going to be getting banged on. You're going to be getting boxed out. They're going to be contesting your shot. And on the other end, you're going to have to guard Brad Daugherty, right? You're going to have to guard Larry Nance, right? Same thing if you played against the Boston Celtics and you're going against Robert Parrish. You also have to deal with Kevin McHale. And on both sides, Kevin McHale's a hellified defender, and obviously he's one of the great low post and high post players in the history of the game. So you're going to have to play defense against him. He's going to make you have to play defense against him. He's going to be banging into you all night. And on the other end, you're going to have to go against him and his long arms and Robert Parrish. And they're not going to back down. They're not going to be hurt. They're not going to be soft and frail. They're going to intimidate. They're going to keep coming at you. You're going against the Indiana Pacers. You got to deal with Rick Smits and Dale Davis. And they're going to bang into you. Rick Smith's like 7'4", man. Dale Davis, 6'11", all muscle. Rick Smits, man, the dunking Dutchman. A very skilled player. Good footwork, good jump shot, nice little touch around the rim. A solid defender. Not great, but you're going to have to earn it. You have to work against him. You're going against the New York Knicks. You got to go deal with Patrick Ewing and Charles Oakley. They're going to be all over you, man. And on the other end, you're going to have to guard Patrick Ewing. What the hell's Jokic going to do against Patrick Ewing? Come on, man. He's going to deal with Hakeem Olajuwon and Otis Thorpe for the Houston Rockets. These are big bodies, man. You have to guard them, and he's going to be guarding you. Nikola Jokic struggling against Ivan Zubac and Isaiah Hartenstein. Having problems with these guys. You're being guarded by Alex Caruso and James Harden. That's not Hakeem Olajuwon. That's not Otis Thorpe or Patrick Ewing or Brad Daugherty or Robert Parrish. You go against the Utah Jazz, you got to deal with Karl Malone and Mark Eaton, who's a giant of a man. So he's going to be laying into you, leaning on you, banging into you. Karl Malone's going to be all over you. Jokic can't stop Karl Malone. You're going to earn it. You're going against San Antonio Spurs. You got to deal with David Robinson. Right? You got to deal with that dude on both sides of the ball. And David Robinson, a lot of these guys I mentioned were greater athletes. They're going to get up and down the court better than Nikola Jokic, faster than Nikola Jokic. They're going to beat him to the block, going to beat him to the spots. Right? Their instincts are better. His defense is way better than Nikola Jokic. He's going to be making him earn it on the other end. And on the offensive end, he's got to guard David Robinson. It's insane. Dikembe Mutombo against the Denver Nuggets, right? He got to play against Dikembe Mutombo. Alonzo Mourning, Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, Vlade Divac, Bill Laimbeer. All these guys are in the NBA in the 90s. He's going to have to play against these guys night in and night out, 82 games a night, which Nikola Jokic has never done. Never played 82 games in a season. But he's going to have to go out there and battle those guys night in and night out. You see, all those guys, they win against each other. And like I mentioned, not just the legit centers, the great centers, but also the power forwards that are going to be banging into. Like I said, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Tom Chambers, Larry Nance, like I mentioned, Kevin McHale, Dennis Rodman, Kevin Willis, Otis Thorpe. I mean, Charles Oakley, like I mentioned. These guys are going to be banging into you. They're going to be clawing at you. They're going to be hounding you. Sean Kemp. Nikola Jokic is going to have to go against Sean Kemp. Vin Baker. Just a lot of these guys who had skills, that had big bodies, that were out there hustling. They're going to make Nikola Jokic earn it. He ain't earned it out there. So when I think about the all-time great centers, and obviously we can go back further than that, if we talk about the Bill Russells and the Wilt Chamberlains and the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars and the Moses Malones and the Dave Cowanses and the Willis Reeds and the Nate Thurmans, the George Mikens and, the Bob Pettits. We're just talking about the legendary big men, Wes Unseld and Bob Lanier and Elvin Hayes and Artis Gilmore. I mean, my goodness, man. What the hell are we talking about here? Jack Sikma. Some of these guys, Bill Walton, these great centers that battle against, they went against each other. All these guys I mentioned from the 90s, Brad Daugherty, Patrick Ewing, they went against each other. Patrick Ewing go against Manute Ball. Patrick Ewing against David Robinson. David Robinson against Hakeem Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon against Mark Eaton. right? Mark Eaton against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar against Moses Malone, right? Moses Malone against Wes Unseld. This guy, Bob Lanier against Elvin Hayes. And, like I said, it's just crazy when you think about it. These guys were going against each other. That's why they earned their status, right? You're going against the other legendary centers. You're going against other great teams. So you're earning it out there. So you can be a top 5, top 10 center all time because you went against the top 5 guys. You went against them and you beat them. Right? Will Chamberlain was going against Bill Russell. Right? This is what happens. Right? Patrick Ewing and Knicks went to the finals in 1994. He had to deal with Hakeem Olajuwon. He didn't play Bam Adebayo in the Miami Heat in the finals. You guys went against competition, man. It's insane. Nikola Jokic can never be a top 5 center. He never went against these guys. He never went against top competition. So, like I said, his era won't allow it. He's just ineligible. It's not his fault, but there's the weak era he plays in. So that's why I don't get on board with, Scab and some of these other people trying to promote Nikola Jokic as a top 10 player all time or the greatest or most skilled center or all this other stuff, man. I just can't do it in the weakest era of all time when you ain't going against no one like that. Like I said, you're not even going against great teams. When we talk about guys like Patrick Ewing never winning a championship, you're going against Michael Jordan's legendary Chicago Bulls every year. Nikola Jokic ain't sniffing a championship going against Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls. And like I said, Nikola Jokic ain't winning no 3 MVPs in the 90s, guys. It's not happening, man. It's not happening. Nikola Jokic, to me, doesn't win 1 MVP in the 90s. Just not one, not even one. Once again, you guys tell me over the last 5 years when Nikola Jokic has dominated the league, you name me his competition. Not the center position. We've talked about the center position. No competition compared to the 80s and the 90s guys. Not close to this. Not even close. Even if we go to 2000s guys, we start talking about guys like Tim Duncan, the Kevin Garnetts, the Tyson Chandlers, the Ben Wallaces, some of the great defenders, some of the great big men, that were still playing in the league. Dwight Howard, who Nikola Jokic struggled against when Dwight Howard was older. This wasn't a prime Dwight Howard. This was in 2020 in the bubble when Dwight Howard was giving Nikola Jokic fits in that Western Conference Finals. That was an older Dwight Howard. Nikola Jokic would struggle against a Dwight Howard, a 2009 Dwight Howard, 2008 Dwight Howard. Nikola Jokic would be in trouble, man. And I don't even like Dwight Howard like that. He ain't even like that skill to me. But his rebounding and defense can't be denied. And the physicality which he played with can't be denied, man. So one of the great defenders of all time, like I said, Ben Wallace, because you imagine Nikola Jokic have to deal with Ben Wallace all night, right, in a playoff series, in a playoff scenario. Like I said, guys, it's just not the same. So anyway, when we think about that, and how that goes down, I don't believe Nikola Jokic is winning an MVP in the 90s, guys. I just don't see it. Like I said, the competition is too stiff. So who's his competition over the last 5 years for MVPs? Who is it? LeBron James? Giannis Antetokounmpo might be his only competition. Joel Embiid? No, well, Joel Embiid won an MVP. He's the only one who was able to crack in there somehow. They gave that fraud an MVP trophy, but he's always hurt, so we know he's not the competition. Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he hasn't really been an MVP caliber player until maybe like this year to me. So really, where's his competition been? It hasn't been there. It's been literally Giannis. That's it. That's his only competition for an MVP trophy over the last 5 years, guys. There's no other legit competition for MVP trophy every year. Every time I see the voting, every year. Who, Jason Tatum? I mean, come on, man. What are we saying here? That's what I'm saying. Like, where are the all-time great players? Steph Curry's not getting MVPs anymore. Kevin Durant ain't getting MVPs. LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. That era's done. They're being phased out. Damian Lillard, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. That era's done.Ey're all being phased out. The fact that Steph Curry's still able to do what he's doing, that's why we're impressed with Steph Curry. Still galvanizing the team. They can still build around Steph Curry. Kevin Durant ain't working out so good for him. LeBron James, we see what he's going on. James Harden, right? Paul George. These guys are a joke. A straight joke. We were rooting for Russell Westbrook, but it looks like he's done too. I don't know. So like we said, who's really the competition for MVP for Nikola Jokic over the last 5 years? No one. Zion Williamson? Who? Victor Wembanyama? Who's the competition for the MVP, man? It's been Giannis, guys, and Joel Embiid. And one of those guys is never on the court. Like I said, Nikola Jokic's competition for MVPs would have been much stiffer, man. Much stiffer. Nikola Jokic is not winning MVPs because he's not going to be putting up those numbers in those eras. You see here, guys, that's the key. Nikola Jokic is getting hyped and celebrated off of stats, numbers, not necessarily winning because he's not winning. The Denver Nuggets are never one of the top great teams as far as wins and all this stuff. They're not. Why is that? Nikola Jokic is so great, but his team can't win 60 games? And then what will someone like Scab say? His team is not good enough because he's not raising the level of play of his teammates in this weak era. You can't win 55, 60 games? Never once. They're not a top defensive team every single year. Why is that? Because Nikola Jokic, he's not a top defender. He's not a consistent defender. So you're not helping your team defense. But I told you, a big man has more impact on team defense than a perimeter player does. Nikola Jokic don't have that impact like that. So, once again, I don't understand, what we're talking about here. Nikola Jokic got these MVPs going against no one, being celebrated for stats. 1 championship with 3 MVPs. Just like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the 70s. But remember, the players voted for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to win MVPs. So even though he only had 1 championship in the 70s, but he had 5 MVPs, to me, that's crazy. 5 MVPs with 1 championship in the entire decade of the 70s, but he was voted on by the players. This is voted on by these weird analysts, these weird media members. We don't respect these guys. They don't know the game like that. They celebrate nonsense, stats. And that's really what it's been about for Nikola Jokic. But like I said, who else is going to win it? Luka Doncic? Like I said, Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Who's winning the MVPs? There has been no competition. In the 80s and the 90s, some of these other eras, everyone's going against each other. So Hakeem Olajuwon was going against Michael Jordan for MVPs. Charles Barkley was going against Hakeem Olajuwon for MVPs, who was going against David Robinson, who was going against... think about Patrick Ewing never won an MVP, never won a Defensive Player of the Year award in his career. And why is that, guys? Not because Patrick Ewing wasn't an MVP caliber player or wasn't on that level, but because other guys were just greater than he was. That's how deep the era was. Patrick Ewing, if you dropped Patrick Ewing or if he played in the 2010s, and you just kept his game the same. You don't got to change nothing about Patrick Ewing. You put Patrick Ewing, what he does in the 2010s. I'm telling you right now, Patrick Ewing has multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards. Multiple. I would say at least 2. And he might even have a championship. He might have an MVP. But in the 90s, he couldn't sniff that because Hakeem Olajuwon was better. David Robinson was better. Michael Jordan was better. Charles Barkley was better. Karl Malone was better. Right? For certain seasons, man. These guys were just dominant, right? And you had the Larry Birds, the Magic Johnsons, right? The Kareem Abdul-Jabbars before this, right? Guys that were dominating the MVP trophies, man. That's competition right there, guys. You're talking about some of the greatest players of all time. Does anyone think Joel Embiid's top 5, top 10 player all time? Top 20? Hell no. Hell no, man. Giannis Antetokounmpo, great player, but he's not nowhere near a top 10 player. So, Luka Doncic, no. SGA, no. Jason Tatum, hell no. So really, like I said, where's your competition at? Right? Magic Johnson won 2 straight MVPs in 1989 and 1990, right? And people were saying that Charles Barkley should have won the MVP, I believe, in 1990. You can say, but this is what we're talking about. That's how close it is. That's how tight the race are. That's how great the players are. Think about the 60s, right? You had 19 was at 62. You had Will Chamberlain average 50 and 20. Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double. And Bill Russell wins the MVP. So once again, competition for an MVP. Now you got guys crying he's getting robbed. All right, the dude's won 3 MVPs in 4 years, but they're really crying that he's being robbed of his 4th MVP. Once again, they're more concerned with these weird accolades that no one cares. No one give a damn if Nikola Jokic wins 10 MVPs, but only has 1 championship for the rest of his career. I don't want to hear this nonsense. You think if he won 7 MVPs, if he wins 7 MVPs in his career, more than Michael Jordan, he's going to be greater than Michael Jordan somehow? No way. No way. Once again, I'll laugh. It's like Rudy Gobert having 4 Defensive Player of the Year award trophies in this era. It's the same difference, guys. Same difference. Don't no one respect those Defensive Player of the Year awards because the era that he played in, and it's Rudy Gobert. Right? So, when you say, oh, man, this guy got 4 Defensive Player of the Year, does anyone believe that Rudy Gobert is a better defensive player than Tim Duncan was? Or Kevin Garnett? Or Kobe Bryant? Or Michael Jordan? Or Gary Payton? Or Bill Russell? Or Will Chamberlain? Guys who never won an award because they didn't have those awards back when they played. Do you guys believe that he's a better defender than Nate Thurman was? Was he a better defender than Dikembe Mutombo? Then Hakeem Olajuwon? Then Patrick Ewing? Patrick Ewing has no Defensive Player of the Year awards, and give me Patrick Ewing all day, every day versus Rudy Gobert. You see what I'm saying, guys? So, yeah, Nikola Jokic has 3 MVPs, but I'm not putting him above David Robinson. I'm not putting him above Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm not putting him above Shaquille O'Neal, who only has 1. All those guys I just mentioned only have 1 MVP. I'm not putting him above them dudes, not even close to me. He's just not. I'm not putting him above Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Moses Malone. Not putting him above any of those guys. Not doing it. So to me, Nikola Jokic is a borderline top 10 center of all time. I do not believe he'll ever be a top 5. He's not eligible to be top 5. He just hasn't gone against the competition. I can't put him above those guys who are actually battling it out in a much more physical era against each other. Each other's the key here. They win against each other. Shaquille O'Neal didn't even win an MVP in the 90s, guys. The man came in 1992-93 season, did not win an MVP until all the other legendary big men and all the legends were retired. Michael Jordan was gone. Karl Malone was old. Right? Hakeem was done. David Robinson was done. Patrick Ewing was done. Then Shaq finally was able to dominate. So if Shaq couldn't dominate those guys when he came in, what do you think Nikola Jokic's going to do? He ain't going to dominate them dudes. So he can't be a top 5 center all time. He's just not eligible for that, guys. And this ain't no knock. It's not a tear-down video on Nikola. These are the facts here. He's been overhyped and over-celebrated. They're trying to put him up there historically. Like I said, in this postseason, he got exposed, man. He wasn't MVP-like in this playoffs. And he's beat 150-win team in his career. Go look what Hakeem Olajuwon was doing in the playoffs. The teams he was going against, the players he was facing. Right? A lot of these guys were facing dynasties and all-time great teams. That ain't the case for Nikola Jokic in this weak era. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.